so you are here for the design workshop. Um, when Danny Wu, my friend from elementary school, gave me a bootleg copy of Adobe Photoshop in 7th grade, that's when I started designing. And I'm sure you all have similar stories of when you started designing. Started making websites for my skate team in middle school. Started photoshopping and just making stuff. Started making graphics for selling stuff on eBay in middle school and early high school. Kind of interesting time. And got into Miss Renario's class in sophomore year of high school and learned Adobe Illustrator. And Miss Renario is actually a teacher in our program right now. So I have quite if my Wikipedia page were to say anything, it would say Derick Lee is a designer first and foremost. So I'm super excited to share this workshop and kind of dive into it. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to share my screen right now. I want to talk about subjective truths in design. What's interesting about this word is that it's true that design is subjective and it's also a truth. What's interesting about design is that you can do whatever you want, but it has to be beautiful. It has to be functional. It has to actually work. When you go out in the world, you look at the earth and you look at societies. Are those things well designed? Is New York City the best city ever? It's possible. A lot of people like it. So a lot of people don't. But it's designed a certain way with a good transport system, with a good, with a good people management system. But it's subjective, right? But also it's beautiful, right? And so what's interesting about subjectivity in design is that there are truths. So design is what you wish it to be, as long as you're intentional about it. So one thing about design is that you have a lot of don't do this, don't do that, do this, right? Do this, do this, do this, do this. It feels like it's, like make the sidewalk 6 foot wide, make the car, within these regulations, have the FDA put it this way. There's so many parameters, right, in design. And it doesn't have to be a negative. Parameters are actually your friend. Parameters are actually things that help you scope in what you need to create in order to actually build a beautiful design that your clients, your customer, that your user, that the people they are trying to please or serve really enjoy. So the more parameters you have actually, with a balance, of course, the better you can actually deliver value to the people that you're serving. So think about parameters as your friend, because it will help you scope what you need to create for your design. Process is an adventure. What's interesting about process is that you got to soak on it. You got to sleep on it, right? You got to actually go through the struggle. You got to go through the problem of having a blank white piece of paper and then having to use your brain to create a solution, right? And there's no point in being in the writer's block. There's no point in actually being frustrated. There's no point in being, down because you can't think of the idea or the solution, right? What you really want to invest your time in is the process, right? You want to get into putting something on the piece of paper, right? Whatever is on your brain. Start scribbling, start creating, start prototyping, start getting a cardboard piece of paper, start throw paint on the wall, right? Metaphorically, use your creative energy with what it is currently at that state with the parameters and the intent and all that stuff to really create a initial step forward, right? And then take that step forward and then build another step forward and keep going until you've actually discovered more of why you're excited about a design, why you're excited about a parameter, or why you're excited about serving and getting to the goal, right? Use your process, use the process of creating things in inspiration, and whatever you have to do, no one has to see it. No one has to see your process. It's all for you. Use that process as a tool and see it as an adventure. Intention is your voice. Why is there a big white dot in the middle of the screen? I don't know, right? It's because I can, right? Because I'm intentional. I want a big white dot in my screen right now. Your intention in design, being bold with how you create things, is what's going to give you the power in your design. If you are fiddling around with your design, if you don't have an intention with your design, if you don't have a bold idea for your design, or even a micro bold idea, right? You have no intention, you have no design, because design is art. And when you create art, you have to have a point, even if it doesn't make sense or not, right? So have an intention, because that is your voice in design. Hierarchy guides the user. What I mean by that is, when you create designs, when you create solutions, you want to compose it in a way where it actually takes the user on a journey, right? And so by utilizing hierarchy, bolding, italicizing, font sizes, colors, whatever you want it to kind of look like, the hierarchy of that design is quite important, because it actually helps people understand what your design is trying to tell that person, right? So use hierarchy as a tool to guide people, to use your design in an effective way that you want them to kind of experience it. And what I want everyone to do right now is squint your eyes. Squint your eyes like this, and squint your eyes at the screen, and just look at that slide. What do you see? What pops up? What's the most prominent thing that pops up? When you look at it long enough, you'll realize that you see a text on the bottom, you see a black box on top, you see a white box on the bottom with this very faded text in the white part. When you squint your eyes, what you find out, you can now, not squint your eyes if you want, but what you'll see is that you'll see a line. You'll see a line right in the middle of the screen. And the contrast between the black and the white is what your eye will draw itself to, right? And so when you look at this, right, the line between the black and the white is what you see, because the contrast wants you to pay attention to it, right? And I'm glad Ria got on. Ria, come back on.
I'm here.
Ria showed me this months ago, and she told me to look at the bright red star on the bottom right. And what I want everyone to do now is what Ria told me to do. Close your eyes entirely and try to imagine that bright red star in your brain. And what Ria told me was that some people can't see the red star. Yeah. I can see the red star.
I cannot.
But Ria couldn't see the red star. Some people see a pink star. Some people see a gray star. Some people see a very faded, gray star. Some people don't see any star. So Ria, what is this? What does aphantasia mean?
It just means you're not able to imagine any vivid pictures. Like, if you were to imagine yourself at the beach, there are people who can actually see themselves at the beach, but I can't see anything at all. And I didn't even know about this. I didn't know people could actually see their imaginations until I saw this on Instagram.
So I want you to now look at this next screen, which is the blank gray screen, and imagine your project that you're working on. And I want you to imagine that project, imagine your solution, whether it's a prototype or you executing it or you making it happen, you talking to a customer, or you talking to a user, or you talking to you know, or you creating the actual app, or you're creating you're engineering the robot or whatever, right? And I want you to now tweak the design based on your liking. Imagine that design, imagine that creation, and then put a different set of wheels on that robot. Give it a different color. Move the button over here. Move the button over there, right? What's interesting is that for those who can imagine, I guess, um, you can use your imagination to the best of your ability with whatever level you have it at to actually design what you want it to be. And that's a very good rough draft, right, of what you will create. So you don't have to use paper. You don't have to use Adobe software. You can use your brain and your imagination to design with whatever capability you have with your imagination. You know, look at what exists in the world, right? Look at um, look at what you've experienced. Imagine all the apps that you've downloaded, and when you're creating something with design, compare it to what you've experienced before. Look at the precedent, pull from things that you actually have done or experienced, and compare it to Snapchat, compare it to TikTok, compare it to your favorite TikTok video, compare it to your favorite flyer, compare it to a billboard that you really noticed, compare it to the car design that you really enjoy sitting in. You know, take what you already know in the world that you see as beautiful and that you see as functional, and compare your design to that, right? And say, is this the best I can do compared to what everyone else can do in the world that's really kind of done great in their designs? And use that as a reference check, use it as a verification for your designs to pull from what you know already and what you've seen already, and based on your memories to judge your own design and be your best, be your own best critic of your designs. So I want to share my screen now. And you should be able to see my screen in a second. And what you saw earlier was a squiggly line. When people usually draw a line, they draw it very fast, and then it looks really bad, right? But when you want to draw a straight line, what you want to do is be as consistently squiggly as possible to make that straight line. Okay, that's not the best straight line because it's not real paper, but you get the point, is that you want to be as consistently squiggly as possible to create that straight line. Don't try to create a straight line. Create a consistently squiggly straight line, because what that'll do is empower you to actually be intentional with your squiggliness to create that straight line. Don't try to be a perfectionist. Accept that you'll be imperfect with a pencil and a paper, and you'll have to create the best version you have and be intentionally imperfect, right? So what this is a what I call a parti. Okay. So what a parti is, okay, and I'm going to go back and share my screen again. This is actually a concept of uh, of of our programs and our people in our programs. And what's interesting about this type of kind of drawing is that it actually just represents basically the concept of an idea, right? So Ria, give me an object in mind that you have.
Let's do a lollipop.
Okay. That's what we call a partie. It's a French word for a concept. Give me another one.
The moon.
That's my moon. Give me something more detailed, something complex.
The sun with its beams.
That took me 1 second to draw. Give me something more complex in human society.
The tree.
Right? So all these things are parties. They're concepts and concept drawings. So when you're actually creating solutions, when you're creating ideas, consider using a partie as a way to actually ideate and create your version of that idea. So what I want to do now is I want everybody to find a piece of paper, and I want you to just put it next to you for a little bit. So I'll give you a minute to find a piece of paper, just 1 8.5 sheet of paper, or not. You can find any kind of piece of paper. That's fine.
Can I use a notebook?
Notebook's fine. Just have it so it's one piece of paper, so it's out of the notebook.
Okay.
Okay, at this point, everyone should have found some piece of paper. If you have not yet, don't worry about it. You can get it later. So what we're going to do now is design your funnest game of tag through the use of paper planes. So we want you to write a 280 character-ish instruction manual and fold your preferred choice paper plane and post both items on the paper planes gallery in the welcome arrival start here area. So what I want you to do is design your funnest game of tag through the use of paper planes. So what we do at PilotCity is we fold paper planes and then we play tag with it. And we play zombie, we play assassin, we play free-for-all, we play capture the flag. We've done a lot of different things with paper planes. And we want you to now design your own version of your funnest game of paper planes by imagining it and then creating a 280 character or tweet of just how to play it. And then I want you to fold your preferred choice of a paper plane and then post the picture of the plane and the instruction manual on the paper planes gallery in Discord. And I want everybody to then like the ones that they made like. And this is I'm really kind of curious to create new paper plane games, and I really want to see what you all kind of whip up. So for the next 9 minutes, we're going to have everyone in the next actually let's do the next 5 minutes between 11:22 and 11:27. I want you to design your own game quickly. Don't think about it too much. Just do what's funnest for you, and then fold your preferred choice of plane, take a picture of it, and post it both on the paper planes gallery. And I'm going to do the same as well. All right, whatever you got, post it up on the paper planes gallery. And we can then, for the respective time, we will end the workshop here, and then we can all enjoy the games and the planes that we all folded and designed on the paper planes gallery.